I just stay there till I get sore. Because if I go all out on Monday, I won't make it back till like fucking Sunday, and I can't have that. I have to be more consistent. So, hey man,
And why?
I'm doing the best I can, brother. Because
Yeah.
you have to maintain some type of schedule somewhere, or you lose your fucking mind. You know, you got to maintain some schedule somewhere. And for a long time, people would call me for something. And they go, all right, we have to do it at 12:30. And I go, fuck, I can't go to jiu-jitsu now. So I stopped that. You know, whatever you could do at 12:30, you could do at 2:30. I'll be home by 1:30. I'll wash my monkey, get a fucking protein shake, and I'll go wherever you need to meet. But 12:30 is out of the question. I don't do that many lunches no more. I stopped that shit. So it's good. I'm in a good fucking spot. And something else happened in my house this week.
What's
This
that?
has been going down. This has been going down for about 2 years, you know, but it really came to life when we moved to this house because I would keep my bong under the bar and I keep
Ooh.
my little grinder under the bar. It was hidden, but the weed is very pungent.
Yes, it
So
is.
every time people would come down, you could smell it. Sometimes my wife goes, you could smell it in the fucking hallway when you walk in. About 3 weeks ago, I took the bong and I cleaned it with the steamer and hot water. I boiled it. My
Right?
wife, she's like, are you smoking pot in the house? The whole house smells because the bong was fucking deep in THC and I steamed that motherfucker. So a couple of days ago, I'm talking to my wife, maybe 2 weeks ago. She says to me, Joey, you know, the cops were at school and they talked to Mercy about marijuana.
Wait. Specifically Mercy or just her class?
No, the whole class. You know, it was like the DARE program, a certain
Okay.
cop. Yeah, which listen, you got to have that. I had that growing up. Not that it made a difference, but to be honest here, not that it made a difference. I'm not proud of that, but that's the way it worked out. And I told her, you know, and then she came back and I said, so I heard they talked to you at school about drugs today. And she's like, yeah, Dad, marijuana. And then she just started rattling off. Like she absorbed the whole conversation. And she was talking about how this THC, you know, like little things. It does this to you, Dad. It does this to you. I go, okay. About a week later, I come in and I go, she goes, Dad, are we going to go eat something? I go, absolutely. And I go change your hair and get a jacket and I'll wash my hands and we'll leave. Well, I went outside to sneak a bong hit. And I'm sitting there with the bong in my fucking hand. And she comes,
Oh,
she goes, Dad, I'm ready. She saw the fucking bong, guys. She saw the fuck.
yo.
So I hid the bong. I went in, I washed my hands, and I made believe it didn't happen. We had a great time anyway. I didn't bring it up, but the whole night I felt weird. And I felt like, you know, I got to come clean with her at some point. I got to come clean with her about 20 things. I just had to wait for her to understand, you know. She's still too young for a lot of things. So she saw the bong and we pussyfooted around. And then one night she comes into the office when I moved it. And my grinder was on the table and the lid had fallen off it. And she looked at it and
Ooh.
looked. So now I got to say something to her. So I didn't say nothing to my wife. I waited a couple days and she came downstairs to do something. And I called her over and I go, pull up a chair. I got to tell you a fucking story. Ooh, who shot that? Who shot that cannon? And you know, I go, listen, when I was 13, I was raised this particular way. I knew what drugs were and I knew the evils of them. But one day, Mercy, I just couldn't take it. And I didn't like alcohol and my friends were smoking pot. And it made me feel terrible. I took that fucking joint. I took a hit off it. And I go, my world changed, Merce. I go, I didn't have anxiety no more. But I was very ashamed of it for 2 or 3 years. For 2 or 3 years, I was very ashamed of smoking pot. I did it with certain people. I put cologne on. I gargled with fucking Listerine, a little bottle, Banaka. You know, I did the whole thing. And then my mother died. I didn't give a fuck anymore. Everybody smokes pot. It wasn't a big fucking deal. So I told her the truth. I said, I started smoking, blah, blah, blah. And then I came a couple of years ago. I did this and I joined with a company. And that's what laughing gas is. Also, she sees laughing gas and she sees the joint tubes. And she's not stupid. She's not stupid. She doesn't know what's in there, but she never really asked. Now, when I was growing up, I lived in that same predicament. I know they were doing something. And then I found out what people were doing. And then when people would talk about it in front of me, I had to make believe like I didn't know what they were talking about. But in fact, I knew more about drugs than they were talking about. But I wasn't allowed to say nothing. And that always created like this conflict with me, like this inner fucking conflict, I didn't
Because
want
you had a conflict because you knew it and you didn't tell your mom? Like, what was the conflict?
the conflict was I saw people at my mother's bar doing coke. I didn't have the heart to tell other kids. It was 1975. I was fucking 12. I would see them put the coke rocks, and then I would wake up in the middle of the night and they'd be in my living room putting coke rocks in their nose with the aluminum foil wide open. I would go into the living room and talk to them, but I would make believe I didn't look at the aluminum foil. At one point, they stopped putting it away, and at one point, it was just an uncomfortable position, but I knew how to. It fucked with me a little bit as a child. That, what I'm saying? Like I knew something that nobody else had a secret about. That here's my living room. I'm waking up in the fucking 7th grade and my mom is cooking and there's fucking my stepfather's watching TV and there's 3 gorillas drinking, fucking snorting coke in my living room, listening to Cuban music. Something ain't right here, you know? But it was very hard to come clean with people at that age and go, what are you talking about? I just left fucking 3 junkies in my living room.
Right. And it's your living room now couldn't be more different. Like Mercy doesn't have that at all.
No. So this house is peaceful. There's nobody showing up here stabbed in the middle of the night. And I got to, clean his hands with gasoline because he shot somebody. And, my life isn't even close to that. This is a fucking, we watch Venom at night, the cringe, whatever the fuck it is.